You're now listening to The Bryan Callen Show with your host, Bryan Callen.
Okay, everybody, this is the Bryan Callen Hunter Mott Show, because Hunter's actually here, but he doesn't have a mic. And our guest is famed fashion photographer, Randall Slavin.
How you doing?
Randall and I were thinking about doing a radio show together. Randall
we've been talking about that for a long time.
I know. And Randall shoots simply the most beautiful women in the world. He shoots the most beautiful women in the world, and he gets paid.
I do shoot men too, and like great guys.
But who gives a shit?
That's the tragedy of it, though. No, I could shoot amazing people, but all they want to see is hot girls. It's all anyone cares about.
Well, but the women you shoot are literally on another level. I mean,
yes, they make their living by being really good looking.
Yeah, I mean, like the kind of girls that guys will buy houses for and change their whole lives for. I mean, it's like when you think about making crazy money, men, some of the richest men in the world, that's who they date.
Right.
I mean, they go,
right.
And the prize, by the way, is one of these girls. You're going to Miami to shoot some Victoria's Secret?
Yeah, I leave Monday to shoot Erin Heatherton.
Erin Heatherton.
Yeah. She used to
Yeah, Erin Heatherton sounds like a model's name.
She dated DiCaprio for a while.
Oh. So what is, you've dated these women. You're not a playboy, though. I never found you to be a guy, if I was in your position, I would be appalling, probably.
You would be a horror show.
Well, yeah,
you would be
most
an
guys
absolute
would.
Horror show.
But then again, your reputation matters. You have to be careful.
Correct. I can't do some of the things I used to do when I was much younger. Yeah. I could never get away with now. I mean, I used to be much more.
Nor would you want to, though, don't you find? I mean,
well, I've got too.
Yeah.
I've got too much to lose now.
Right.
If I did some of the things I did when I didn't, was 25 and didn't care.
Sure.
But I mean, I was much more.
Well, they were there,
then.
and they were into you,
and I was the same age as them. Now I'm just older and not the same age as them.
Yeah, but that's really that's very sexy. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I did not shoot
a lot of women like that. A lot of women are into that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And by the way, we're looking through Randall's phone right now. And he's got some pictures. But you're an artist, man.
Thank you.
The thing about the thing that we're friends, and the reason we're friends is because you're really funny and you have a great personality. And I always say every time we hang out, I'm always like, fuck, he's the guy. It's always like, we need to hang out more. Because
so you can look through my phone.
Well, that for sure. But you started as an actor out here, and then got into this stuff, and
focus.
I am trying to focus. I was looking through his phone. And I lost my train of thought. Help me! Obviously, I'm not cut out for that kind of work. But
no. But I think Bryan, the same thing that people would say to you about going on the road and performing in front of crowds, and how that's the same thing. It's all.
Yeah.
You look at my life and my job in a completely fantasy world. It's a complete fantasy what you picture.
Yeah.
It's not the reality. I mean, the same thing with you. I've been to your shows. It's not a good-looking audience.
No, my fans are usually guys that look like me.
Right.
So if I like banging guys that look like me,
and then they bring their girlfriends.
Always.
And they bring their girlfriends, and then you.
Yeah, you're not getting, as a comic, you can be a degenerate, but you're not. If you want to really get laid, you got to be a fashion photographer or a rock and roller. Those are the guys that end up dating. Just really, really, the most beautiful women.
Yeah. Well, fashion photographer is what you do when you're not musically inclined.
You look like a rock star.
Yes.
You got great long hair.
Thank you. It's beautiful.
and a blonde mustache.
Yeah.
Did you ever?
Yeah. I'm trying to go for a whole I've sort of been obsessed with John Derek lately.
Oh, wow.
I'm trying to go for a whole John Derek.
John Derek, who used to be married to Bo Derek and made her famous.
Yeah.
He was
and as he says, ruined her career.
Did he?
Yeah.
He was a very serious and special photographer, wasn't he? I mean,
yes. Well, I was sort of fascinated by him in many ways because he's pretty mediocre at everything.
Yeah.
Terrible filmmaker, mediocre photographer, but had this incredible eye for marrying insanely hot women.
Wow.
He was married to Ursula Andress.
Yeah.
Then he was married to Linda Evans.
Yeah.
And then he left Linda Evans.
He's kind of a big, sexy guy, right?
Yeah,
Like,
handsome.
Yeah.
Then he left Linda Evans when he was like in his late 30s for a 15-year-old girl.
No.
He renamed Bo Derek.
Oh, she was 15.
Yeah.
And he renamed her Bo Derek.
He was married to Linda Evans.
So he's a pedophile.
It's the 70s, bro. It's the
Right.
70s.
It was the 70s.
It's the 70s.
I guess you're right, bro. I guess you're right. 15 in the 70s was every bit
Jimmy
of 21.
Page is walking around with a 14-year-old girl. Yeah.
With a 14. Let me see.
Yeah.
There's a picture of John Derek.
I actually spent a day with Bo recently for with a photo shoot just to sort of fulfill my John Derek fantasies.
Wow.
Which is probably in there, a picture of. Yeah,
Wow.
no, of me and of Bo and myself. It's probably in there.
Yeah, Bo Derek is still a beautiful
Yeah.
woman, man.
Oh, there's John. Told you I was a little obsessed.
Yeah, he was a handsome son
Yeah.
of a bitch. Where do you go to college? Yeah. Where do you go? They can't hear you when you talk because this. But where do Hunter's asking? Where do you go to college to work with really beautiful women? Well, but that's an interesting thing. You just decided to become a photographer. You obviously have a great eye for stuff.
I sort of stumbled into it.
But it took you a long time to get to the point where you are now, as far as successful and also as good, right?
Yeah, of course. You know, you sort of. Yeah, I sort of stumbled into it. I was a struggling actor, and I was pumping gas at a Chevron station in Hollywood, and sort of stumbled into it. Yeah, I don't know. You know, it takes a while to sort of find your thing and find your style or your, and I've been very lucky in a lot of ways.
Do you see fashion photographers or photographers where you can say, with the exception of like Ansel Adams and things, where you go, oh, that's such and such? I mean, it's hard.
Yeah, I mean, I think all the good ones, you can see their work a mile away. That's
Really?
what makes them good, of course. Yeah, you can see a Bruce Weber picture without seeing who it is and know it's Bruce Weber. Same thing with a Herb Ritts or an Annie Leibovitz or Richard Avedon. All the great ones, even the ones that, like a David LaChapelle or a Ellen von Unworth, you know their work a mile away.
Right.
And that's why they're great.
Right.
And that's I think what everyone sort of
I always
should
say that's
strive
the
to,
whole idea. Even as a comic, you want
as everything.
Yeah, you want to be original.
It's so difficult to have a fingerprint.
So how do you do that? What is the thought process? I mean, I guess it's a form of authenticity, right?
Well, I think it has to come. You can't think about it. It has to just come.
Yeah.
You have to sort of have something and hone it, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, this is what I do.
Right.
But if you set out saying, oh, I'm going to do something that's going to be, I think it just has to be organic.
Right.
And also you can't, like a comic. I'm sure like when you start off doing stand-up, which I can imagine being a more brutal experience, is being like a brand new comic.
Yeah, it's a bitch.
It just sounds horrifying.
Yeah.
Because everyone knows there's nothing worse than watching someone bomb.
Yeah, it's
as
the
an
worst.
audience, I'm sure it's terrible on stage.
Yeah.
But as an audience member, it's horrifying.
No question.
It's the longest, like 7 minutes.
It's the longest 7 minutes of your fucking life.
Right.
Yeah.
But when you start, you probably are copying your favorite comics. Or you're thinking like
I luckily knew. It's funny you say that because I knew enough not to watch any other comics. And by the way, I was lucky because none of my heroes were comics. I've never had one, like Pryor was my hero or
John
Carlin.
Holmes.
I didn't care about any of them. My heroes were
Really?
my heroes were dramatic actors, writers, and fighters and athletes.
Right.
Everybody else was like comics because I kind of knew that I had it in me. I knew I was, if I really wanted to. It wasn't a mystery.
Right.
I think a lot of times your heroes are heroes because what they do is a mystery to you. Like when you see something great, you go, how the hell do you do that?
Right.
One of the interesting experiences of my life was I had a conversation with what's his name, De Niro about
Who?
De Niro about with Bruce Springsteen about how he writes songs.
Right.
And it was really interesting because I went, well, that sounds a lot like the way I write jokes. I mean, you sit and you wait for something to happen. You start with a metaphor, or you start with an idea.
Start with an idea of something. And
and it layers on itself, right? When you sit and try to capture the expression in someone's eye, or when you go to shoot someone like Heatherton,
right.
what is your thought
process?
process?
But it's the complete opposite.
Okay.
I don't think it out.
You don't?
No. because some people do. For me, it's never worked because it's like everything.
You got to get them
once
comfortable.
you get on set, once you get everything working, the clothes and the makeup and the location, it all can be completely different. I mean, there's some things I've done that have been pretty specific, but for the most part, I just sort of freeform it.
And you don't know what they're going to bring and stuff like that, right? You don't know what they're going to bring. Look at Randall with Bill Clinton. Did you shoot Bill Clinton?
I did a portrait of Bill Clinton a couple years ago or so.
That's pretty amazing.
It was pretty great. It was an incredible day, and I ended up one of my biggest disappointments because the picture is pretty terrible.
Really?
Yeah, I was so nervous, and the picture of us together is much better than the picture that I shot of him.
What was the mistake you made?
I was very nervous, and I've been a big fan for a long time. And I set the portrait up. I sort of pushed it to happen because I really wanted to. We had the same birthday, and I really wanted to make it happen. And then I get to his office up in Harlem, and he was very late, and we were in this room, which I found out if you ever are going to buy President Clinton a gift, don't get him a globe.
Because he's got a lot of globes.
Plenty of globes.
He's got a lot of globes.
This room is lined with gift globes. It's literally every shelf, everywhere is a globe of some kind. So, for the record, he's got plenty. Don't worry about it. But I was just nervous, and then he was in his office. We were in the conference room, and it was right behind the door, and it was just like 2 hours, and so the anxiety was just building and building, and then like
2 hours.
Yeah, just waiting, and you're just like, and you're trying to make small talk with this woman who's sort of your.
What were you nervous about, though?
How many presidents have you met, Bryan?
None.
Exactly. How many actors have you met?
A lot.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
And even you're not even meeting like a B-level president like George Bush Sr.
Yeah.
You're meeting like somebody. You're meeting someone that America loves. The world loves this guy, and he's the greatest, most charming. I was just nervous, and then he came in, and I was just so like flustered.
Yeah, keep that mic close.
I was just really flustered, and I look at it now, and the truth is, I put more effort and thought into the picture of us because I knew they were going to take a picture of us. So I put more effort into what I wanted that picture to look like than I probably did in the actual portrait I took.
See, I don't think that way anymore about people. That like I don't care who it is. Like the mystery of like if I met Barack Obama or anything, as I get older, I realize that the mystery seems to have broken down. Like I can appreciate Bill Clinton for what he was and all that, but in a way I always just feel like, getting really good at something, no matter what it is the same. Hold on, and Hunter has something to say.
I would say that's true, Bryan, but how did you feel when you met Jared Diamond?
Well, I thought Jared Diamond wrote a seminal book and answered a question that needed to be answered and spent 20 years doing it. So what I admired was the effort. And I have to say, yes, that when I
I was thinking of the subway, Jared.
Damn it, Randall! Damn it!
Thinking,
must you be also a great American? Must you be so goddamn pedestrian?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, that's interesting because for me, you're right. When you meet somebody who's done something, what I find fascinating is people who are original thinkers or who come up with a question most people aren't even asking, or they are asking, but it seems way too big a question to answer, and they do answer it in a book like Guns, Germs, and Steel. So that in that sense, that's their opus, and that's where you go, wow, that took a lot of effort, probably a lot of guts. And you lived and worked with Watts or Crick, James Watson, who created the guy who created found the double helix, found DNA. I mean, right, the code for life.
Yeah. That's crazy.
So talk a little bit about what. Tell me who have you met that you've been awed by? Because, Hunter, you've met lots of people, and you went to Harvard and all that shit, and which means nothing to you or it means everything, depending. But you know what I mean? I mean, you've met some very smart people. Give me the people you've been awed by.
Randall.
Well, that makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense.
No, I mean, I think that's the point is that you are awed by what you're not familiar with, So, I mean, that's the point is that, I'm looking through Randall's phone and looking at all these models. And for, a guy who, is a nerd, that's like incredibly intimidating and exciting and all of those sorts of things. For you, it's pretty normal and ordinary. James Watson, I will say, I was incredibly intimidated and excited before meeting them. And then I lived with him for a year.
That's a whole different game.
Pretty much, once you see the man like eating bagels and like getting cream cheese on his face, it takes a little of the mystery out of
the awe has worn off.
Exactly. Like there's nothing quite like cream cheese to make you not intimidated by a person.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think that's the other thing too.
I get awed by musicians. Like actors, that doesn't do it for me, but like musicians, because it is something that I would love to be able to do, so that whenever I'm around a musician who I really like respect, or that's where I get a bit awed.
Yeah, you're awed by what you don't think you
correct.
can have.
Like where people like, oh, actors, and I'm like, actors, whatever.
Yeah, I agree.
But
actors,
musicians, to me, that just seems magical.
Yeah, but again, musicians, yes. I mean, Jack White's somebody I'd really like to meet, but Jack White's really good because I think he's an innovator, and I like his philosophy, this minimalist philosophy. But then again, I understand it in some ways. I'm not a musician, but I understand practicing something where it becomes second nature.
Yes, but there's a difference between practicing something that's second nature and writing one.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Where does that innovation come from? And what we now know about innovation is recombination.
Oh, you lost me. I don't know.
No, it's. I mean,
what do you mean innovation is recombination?
New ideas, right?
Right.
So if essentially, new ideas are just sex in the sense that if you take two individuals, you mix their genes together, and you come up with something that's never happened before.
Right.
In the same way, what is jazz? Jazz is the mixing of the Western and the African musical traditions, and you create something utterly new.
Right.
That's all that innovation is, whether it's in the field of writing books, in the field of fashion photography, in the field of stand-up comedy. It's science, anything like that. And I mean, Jared Diamond, I actually was talking to my dad this morning about this. Like, Jared Diamond is amazing, but people don't understand why he's amazing. They think he's amazing because he had this idea out of nowhere. But really what makes him amazing is he had a question. He identified that. He read everything on the topic. And then he figured out, after 20 years of reading and research and all that sort of stuff, he figured out what's the big pattern. He didn't come up with it. He organized the information. Right, in the same way that Charles Darwin did.
I was just going to bring up Darwin
because
he just spent this insane amount of time just collecting and gathering and doing things that no one else would do.
That's right.
And so you're saying the genius is in the thought, but also the commitment of it and following it through.
It's
and
the 10,000 hours.
what the 10,000 hours of the outliers,
But it's so much of it is about
the Darwin thing's mind blowing. What he did.
But that's
not true. But
but that's so much of it is that people are awed by. I mean, it isn't true. We do all know
obviously.
that. Yeah. I actually, by the way,
I saw Noah last night, so I know what's real.
By the way, there's a book you guys should read called Dinos on the Ark. It'll really open your eyes. No, this is actually a book. Go on Amazon. It's called Dinos on the Ark.
Dinos on the Ark. I said dinosaurs on the Ark. How was, scale of 1 to 10, how was Noah? Oh. Greatest movie ever made. Greatest and truest movie ever made.
5.
A 5, huh?
5.
Wow.
Yeah.
I always wonder as an actor when they say, we're going to do a lot of CGI, you're going to play Noah, you're going to build a boat, you spend a lot of time, I want you to learn carpentry. If it's Daniel Day-Lewis, he really would have built a boat.
But I had so many problems with the movie. And on these little things, I had issues with. These little like Jennifer Connelly plays Noah's wife.
Jennifer Connelly is a
so
fucking
beautiful.
Babe. How's she look?
Gorgeous, and she's got perfect teeth.
Oh.
She's got beautiful teeth.
Yeah.
These people are like cave dwellers.
Yeah.
They should look like Chaka. They should not look like Jennifer
dirty
Connelly.
Yeah.
And then and then they have these. And then in the beginning they got these little babies. Then it cuts to when they're older, and Jennifer Connelly still looks stunning. and they've got these children who are so beautiful. One's like Emma Watson, and one is this
Emma Watson.
Yeah, one is this
with a rattle.
One is this British actor who's this guy who I've worked with who's insanely beautiful.
Oh, God.
And you're just like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then I was also, so that was an issue.
They were God's children. Keep going.
And then it's sort of like, and then there were these rock monsters which sort of really built the arc. These like legion of rock people.
I think Randall's real issue here is that this is depicting an event that happened after the fall of man. So if it had been Adam and Eve, they should have perfect teeth because God gave all of God's children Invisalign, and then after the forbidden fruit caused tooth decay.
I mean, there was certain things I really liked. Like visually, it was really beautiful, and there's certain things, and I love Russell Crowe. Watch him do anything, but like it was also like it was a Noah's Ark movie, pretty much without animals.
Wow, interesting.
Pretty much without animals.
Weird. That was because of PETA and probably because of budget.
Well, no. There's like maybe 10 minutes of the animals all coming onto the ark.
Yeah.
First it's the birds, and then it's the lizards and snakes, and then it's the hooved animals.
Does it look cool?
It looks great, but then he puts them all to sleep with a magic fume, and then no more animals.
And sleep.
and sleep for apparently 9 months because
Yeah,
Emma Watson has to have a baby.
No shitting.
Yeah.
No shitting.
No shitting, no feeding, just sleeping.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of that of
Yeah.
like I wanted to really like it, but sorry.
Wow.
It did.
What are your favorite? Give me your 5 favorite movies.
Ever?
Yeah.
Unforgiven, Clint Eastwood.
Great movie.
The Deer Hunter.
Yep. I rewatched it. I've changed my mind.
It's
Too long.
magnificent. No.
Too long.
No.
But a
no.
sad,
Why?
powerful movie.
Why? Too long because of the wedding?
Yeah, it
I'll
was
tell you why the
such
wedding
a
needs to
sad
be
movie,
there.
but a
I'll tell you
powerful
why
movie.
the wedding needs to...
It's a great movie.
The
It's a
wedding
great
needs
film.
to be there because if you don't have that where you really know these guys, the tragedy of what happens to those three guys
you're right.
doesn't work.
Never get away with that today, but you're right.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
No,
But
I
that
agree.
movie,
I agree.
The Godfathers.
Yes. Yeah. All good calls.
What else? Obviously.
Godfathers.
The good one. One of the only movies where the third is better than the first.
Godfather.
Mm-hmm. And The Hangover.
Yeah, exactly. Hangover 3 is better than the first, and Godfather 3 is
I don't know. What else?
Godfather
What else? Those are the ones that come in. Oh, HUD.
Hud's
Paul
a
Newman's
great.
HUD.
Hud's a great movie.
It's a fantastic
Hud is your
movie.
unprincipled man, Hud.
Oh,
Wow, I remember
my
that movie
mother
very
loved
well.
me.
He was great, Paul Newman.
I don't know. Those would be the ones that's first. I know there's one that I'm going to be really upset that I'm forgetting. Oh, Magnolia.
Magnolia is a great movie.
Obviously, a lot of lighthearted comedies.
Yeah.
A lot of a lot of
Yeah.
Caddyshacs.
Well, actually, what that's interesting though because it must speak to something inside you. What do you take very seriously?
I like Chipotle. I don't know.
I take my burritos seriously as fuck, everybody.
I don't know. But my mom she was divorced, and she used to take me as a very young kid to completely inappropriate movies for my age.
Oh, really?
Yeah, incredibly.
And you grew up in
inappropriate.
L.A., right?
Yeah. Long Beach, but incredibly inappropriate movies for like an 8-year-old. I remember I went with my mom and we watched double bill of Midnight Express.
Oh, God damn. An 8?
Well,
I read that book actually when I was 13.
Yeah, I was. I whenever it came out because
And I saw the movie when I was 13. Yeah, that was it was
little.
heavy.
I
Bites
remember
his tongue out, fucks him.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
two
it was-
men making out.
Yeah,
I remember
heavy.
there's the scene, the famous thing where she comes in and rips her shirt off.
That turned me on.
And I remember, and he's, she's rubbing her tits against the glass, and he's sort of, and I remember
Yeah.
turning to my mom in the
Crying.
front seat of the Chrysler and going, "What is he doing?" And she goes, "Shh, he's playing with himself." And I was like, all right.
You know what? Good for your mom, good for your
Alright.
mom though, in a way.
But seeing that, I remember I went and saw Kramer vs. Kramer with her. I went and saw Saturday Night Fever when it came out, which I was
Wow.
8 when that came. And there's
Wow.
blowjobs and suicide and
Yeah, but in a way, we put my dog down, and Stella held the dog, and a lot of people don't let your daughter see the dog. She dealt
that's
with it.
different than
She was
Donna
fine.
Pescow getting gang raped.
Well, that's very true. That is true. At 8, I saw A Clockwork Orange at about 8 or 9. It fucked me
I still
up
haven't
forever.
seen that movie.
You've never seen A Clockwork Orange? You need to go home tonight and see it. I would argue that The Clockwork Orange right now is already still one of in the top 5 greatest movies of all time. I would argue that A Clockwork Orange, if it came out in theaters today, all of us would be talking about it.
Really?
Oh my God. A Clockwork Orange is the I don't even know what to say about it. I'm not kidding when I say I need to see that tonight.
We should watch that. I can't do it tonight.
That movie is
but
on another
I would love
level.
to watch that.
That movie is so shocking and so good and so insane.
I know. I would like to see that. I've never seen it.
It's Stanley Kubrick's. Kubrick, for my money, maybe greatest ever. Even
really?
better than Woody Allen. Yeah. Maybe his movies were so insanely unique.
Yeah.
And Dr. Strangelove.
I'm a big Eyes Wide Shut fan. I'm
What?
a big fan of Eyes Wide Shut.
Yeah,
I'm
it was
a big
great.
fan of that movie.
But if you watch, you've got to see A Clockwork
I like a movie
Orange.
about jealousy and obsession and
we all
sex
have
parties.
it. You know,
I went to a Eyes Wide Shut sex party the other night in L.A.
Really?
Swear to God.
Tell me you participated, because I've been to one.
You have?
Yeah.
Which ones have you been to?
I went to one it was held in a suite. I wore a mask.
Was it this
It was a
group?
long time ago.
Oh no, this was in a house. They rented, and it was everyone. All the men were in tuxedos and masks.
Wow.
The women. I watched a woman with a strap on fuck another woman on a piano while a dwarf slapped her butt.
Really?
Yeah.
This is really interesting decadence.
Oh yeah. It was. Well, what happened was I was picking up my buddy. We were going to some party, and he goes, "Dude, you're never gonna know what's going on next door." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "There's like a sex party going on next door, and because my neighbor's rented out his house, he doesn't want us to complain, so we can go check it out." And I was like, well, fuck this party, and let's not go to this party. Let's stay at this party.
Yeah.
It's the greatest party
Where's
ever.
my mask and tuxedo?
So
Where's Men's Warehouse?
We went like this. And they had an auction. They were auctioning off girls. A man stood on a table and auctioned off girls, and people and men silently held like plaques. And
You got to have money then.
yeah, you have to pay to go to this thing, and the girls obviously get in free, and then there's a bunch of hookers and stuff, and
That is so amazing.
it was incredible. And we're like this, and everyone was giving us the evil eye, and we turned to the guy who invited us, and I was like, I feel really bad that we're not in masks because everyone's really giving us bad looks. He goes, it's not the mask, it's the dress code that's really pissing people off. Because he goes, the mask is optional. The dress code is not.
The dress code is not.
I was like, oh, fuck it.
You got to be in tux.
I met a girl
now,
there.
Were people
and
fucking right there?
I did see a guy going down on a girl on a couch, and there was a crowd around, much like in Eyes Wide Shut, or like 9.5 weeks at the end of it.
But I wonder if it broke into fucking later on.
Well,
Let me get my hand down my pants.
Yeah, hold on.
Jesus.
It was interesting. And the crowd was egging him on to fuck her, and I think he had a little bit of a performance anxiety because
I don't.
He couldn't do it. He wouldn't do it, and she kept. And it was a bizarre thing. I mean, there was moments that were sort of sexy, but the problem was, one point one insanely hot girl came in. And you could just feel the ripple of energy where everyone was like,
"Wow!"
It got a little intense.
Was she naked or
no? She was relative. I mean, she wasn't naked, but
was she wearing a mask?
She was, yes.
God.
But you could see that she was insanely hot.
Yeah.
I made out with some girl there who told me, she followed me on Instagram, and she's like, "Oh, you're such and such. I follow you on Instagram."
And she made out with you.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thanks, buddy. And then she said one of the most ridiculous sentences a human being's ever said to me. She goes, "Oh, I can't believe." She goes, "I have to go to Iceland with Charlie Sheen at 6 a.m."
Get the fuck out of here! What? That's so great. I hope you didn't out her.
Well, what do you do after?
That's so great.
Go to Iceland with Charlie.
You go to Iceland with Charlie Sheen after an Eyes Wide Shut sex party.
Yeah,
That's
unbelievable.
Right.
Unbelievable.
What did I'm surprised that those kinds of parties don't happen. I'm surprised parties like that don't happen more often.
My takeaway from this is they do.
Really?
And we don't know about it.
Well, fuck. My marriage would be so good if my wife let me go to those things.
Yeah, I know. It was, there used to be
I
this.
guess you got to have a lot. I guess at the end of the day, it's basically rich guys with
Correct.
who are willing to pay for sex.
But the other thing is you're paying for the thing but the other thing is if you're a rich guy and paying for sex, you can hire call girls who are a lot hotter than these girls.
Yeah. I'm not interested.
No, if I had the money where I wanted to buy
even
call girls, I wouldn't go to girls who were going to go to a sex party.
Even call girls as they get older, I'm like, oh, you probably have a borderline personality disorder or something. Yeah, whatever it is. I don't care, but I mean, at the end of the day, you're like, I don't know if I want to be this guy now.
There used to be this thing in L.A. I used to go to many years ago that a young Hollywood actor brought me to for the first time. It was like a illegal strip joint that used to travel around L.A. too. Oh. They used to like go after hours at restaurants. They would close down restaurants and then set up for this thing that would go and you'd pay $50 to get in, and it was sort of a normal strip joint, but it was all illegal and anything goes. And then this weird Asian man would call you and leave a message in your machine. Oh, we got it going on tonight, and you come by. We got 40 girls. They're really great. And then it just got more disgusting and degenerate. And then they just did away with the whole premise of it being a strip joint, and it just became
a brothel,
a dark room.
Yeah.
It just became a dark room where they serve liquor.
Yeah.
And then it started going to house party. It started going to houses, and then it just got real. The darkest it got.
I used to do jiu-jitsu with a famous porn director / star, and we became friends because we used to roll, and he would invite me and my girlfriend. I had a beautiful girlfriend at the time, to these sex parties. I never went because I just was like, I don't know.
It would ruin the sanctity of
I wasn't
worried
how
you treat your
penis.
penis.
I'm a mess, but I mean, I was more like I might have to be next to some dude who shaves his chest and smells like coconut oil, his job.
I saw some things at this years ago. I saw some things that were mind blowing.
Really?
Yeah.
Like what?
Like just you're there. And I used to go with my friend who shall remain nameless, and we used to just do tons of ecstasy and just sit there and you'd be there, and there's some guy going down on a stripper next to you, and things like that.
I was at the one I was at. It was the birthday party of a celebrity and his wife. It was his wife's birthday party, and they wanted to have sex with lots of people.
Yeah, that's great.
And my ex-girlfriend was there.
It's a shame it didn't work out with her.
I know. She was a freak. She was great. She was really a nut. I mean, she was a nut. And I was like, all right. Anyway.
Yeah, it's
I've done,
best to stay away from those
here in Los Angeles, ladies and gentlemen.
But I think, but point being is, I think those things happen all the time, but we're just not in that subculture.
I don't know.
I think they happen more.
That too, like you got to kind of be into it where the idea is sexier than the actual doing of it.
Yeah.
So you're maybe I'm just getting older. I don't know.
Yes. But I think it goes on a lot more than you think.
Certainly in Vegas it does.
Of course. But I think in LA I went to a sex party in New York, and I saw an albino get finger banged.
No.
Yeah, that was horrible.
She was an albino.
Yeah, she looked like Rebel Wilson but albino.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice body?
No. Rebel Wilson.
Oh, Rebel Wilson. Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
All due respect to Rebel.
Yeah, no.
And she, here.
Yeah.
So you said it was a subculture. Do you think that there's a group of people who meetup group style, have shared interests and come together?
Yeah.
Or do you think do you think that this is dominated by people who are really wealthy and
No,
famous?
I think it's I don't know, but my guess would be there's both of those. I think there's very wealthy, like less than zero-y type guys who have all this and they get off on things, but I just think there's a lot more of these sort of sex party type things than you would think. Because if I stumbled into one next door to a friend's house, that's pretty. And there was 100 people in it.
But that's the other thing too, is where is this friend's house? Like what
Up
part
Laurel
of town?
Canyon. Up Laurel Canyon.
So I mean, if you were gonna have where's sex party central?
Of course, I just think it's a lot more than you would think. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't do it, but I think. It doesn't. I mean, and then when I was in New York, and a friend was thinking of making a documentary, and he heard about this thing, so he said, "Do you want to come?" And I got to go to this sort of sex party thing, and I was like, fantastic, I'm in.
That may be the most amazing sentence ever uttered. I have to go to this sex party kind of thing.
But, we were there with cameras, which people don't like at a sex party. So it didn't get as debauched as I think it normally would get because we're there with a light and a camera trying to do like a little teaser reel of like maybe this will be an interesting And that's where I did see a albino chick get finger banged.
Sex is a very... Some people, people get off on different things, man.
Yeah, thank God.
Yeah, thank God is right. Thank God is right. There's nothing less sexy than somebody who's a prude.
Yeah, no, sure.
I mean, for me, anyway. I thought, well, no, she's got a sordid past. No problem.
I'm good
Sounds
with
like the
that.
kind of girl I'll move right into my house. I'm not afraid of that shit at all.
Yeah, I would never hold someone's past.
I married a girl who was a good girl, or so she says, but,
Oh, I know the truth.
You got goddamn right you do. She was a model. You never shot her, though, did you?
No, not yet.
No, hey, man. God damn it. You just hugged my kids. That's so funny. Yeah, man. No.
Yeah, there's some crazy shit out there.
What do you want to be doing in 10 years? Same.
No, not at all. No, I'd like to be running a magazine.
Running a magazine. Mm-hmm. It feels like magazines are on the way out. Or are they?
They'll never be gone. It's changing. It's like the music business.
What does that mean, running a magazine?
Being an editor-in-chief of a magazine, founding your own magazine, starting that, not shooting anymore.
What would be that magazine?
I don't really want to talk about it right now because I'm trying to put it together, and I'd rather not, But like a younger Vanity Fair would be ideal.
Cool.
A little more,
Vanity
less.
Vanity Fair and Esquire are two great magazines.
Yeah, a little less waspy, Upper West Side, royalty obsessed than Vanity Fair is.
Yeah.
A little more West Coast vibe to it, but still with great articles and great photography.
You like New York more than you like LA, or LA is your home?
I like LA. I like New York, but New York's become unlivable.
Yeah.
The weather's just gotten terrible.
Yeah.
All the way. And I don't know. LA's great.
Yeah.
If you surround yourself with the right people, and it's great. It's the greatest.
It's hard
thing
to
ever.
argue with. I'm going to play volleyball after this. You're welcome to come out.
Oh God, no.
You're not a volleyball guy.
No.
I'm not either, dude.
I know.
But I'll play anyway.
I know you love the volleyball. You love going out to the beach and playing the volleyball because you can take off your shirt and then.
But it's not. I'm playing with pro athletes. It doesn't look very good compared to those guys.
That's a good point.
I'm playing with an Olympic boxer, a UFC heavyweight, and myself, and then some friends from high school.
Yeah,
Hunter.
Yeah,
Hunter, you playing? I want to see that tailpiece. I want to see that tailpiece in action.
I would blend right in. That sounds great. That sounds.
You look like a surfer, dude.
I know.
I mean, you got piercing blue eyes.
Thank you.
Strong jaw.
Incredible, isn't it?
Long hair.
Anti-Semitic, the jaw, almost.
Almost. You don't look Jewish, and
Not
you're
at all.
100% Jewish.
100%.
You couldn't. You couldn't look more Aryan.
I know.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I know.
You really look like a biker.
You look like you. Yeah, they can't hear you, but you look like an Aryan neo-Nazi biker. You look like Charlie Hunman from Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah. If I were ever to go to jail or something like that, I would hide my Jewishness easily.
Well, you have the Star of David on your elbow.
I would change that to something.
To a pentagram.
I would change that to a pentagram, a poorly drawn pentagram. In a second, I would hide that very quickly. I'd slide right in. I'd slide right in with my Aryan brothers. It's Russian.
Do you identify with being Jewish?
Yes, culturally I do.
You do.
Sense of humor-wise, I do 100%.
Yeah, you got a great sense of humor.
Yeah.
And how do you identify?
Huge schwagigas. Yeah.
Well, you do have a piece. I know your old girl. She said you did. I've seen a picture of your piece.
Oh, good.
Yeah, she took a picture of you on the balcony, I think, and you had your piece.
That can happen.
No, you did
Crazier things like that. That's why I'll never run for Senate.
That's right.
There's too many of those.
I'd vote for you, bro. With that piece, I'd vote for you.
Let me tell you, if I could do it all over again, and not have tattoos and pictures of my penis all floating in the cloud, I would be in politics.
Really?
Yeah, 100%.
And the real reason why having your penis already out there is why you wouldn't run for Senate is because the fun of being a senator or a congressman is then sending your penis picture to
to women in San Francisco. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if I could do it all over again, I'd be the senator from the great state of California. Yeah.
You know, we've already had Arnold. Why not you?
How dare you? How dare you? I had a model at a casting the other day who asked me, she goes, "Is that actor guy still our governor?"
Oh, my God.
And I was like, oh. She was really hot, though. Yeah.
So
I think she just texted me. Yeah.
Wait a minute, but that's something, as I was looking through all your photos, because you take pictures of so many incredibly attractive women, do you find that because it took me, like, I had to, like, get desensitized to how many attractive women I'd seen before I could start to actually appreciate your photography.
Yeah. Well, yes. Well, yeah. I never get desensitized to beauty of women.
You like see like 100 in a row. You're sort of like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Focus. Let's not talk about that. Let's not talk about that.
Is that a doctored picture?
No. That was from Hawaii over New Year's.
Oh, so you're friends with him?
A little bit. He's dating a friend of mine.
Oh. Can we talk about who it is?
No.
Right. He's friends with a big celebrity. And, I like him. I met him recently.
Yeah, he's great.
He's a good guy.
It's great. But it's a ridiculous photo.
That's a ridiculous photo because you guys you're in the same position.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous.
And you have the same body, it seems.
No, he's very fit. Anyway.
He is fit. For a guy who tears himself up.
He's very fit.
Yeah, but he likes his cigarettes and his coffee and his, it seems, he keeps it together. Anyway, you don't want to talk about it.
Bill Clinton.
Yeah, we're talking about Bill Clinton.
There's a picture of me and Fred Savage. It's incredible.
That's funny, by the way. Anyway.
Yeah. But I don't get, I certainly don't get desensitized to it. I still think You
couldn't because you're shooting them and you have to make them beautiful.
Yeah.
Right?
But I mean, I just think.
You're fascinated with beauty and symmetry.
Yeah.
Most beautiful woman in the world of all time? Is there a woman who brings you to your knees every time? They're all so gorgeous.
But it changes. Like right now, who I think, I don't know. I mean, there's, yes, there is definitely. There's this model out there who I think is the most beautiful woman I've ever seen.
What's her name?
Emily DiDonato.
Emily DiDonato.
Yes.
I mean, you shoot so many.
Who I think is the most beautiful. And actress, I'd probably say Amber Heard right now. I think is the most beautiful creature.
I don't know either one of them.
I know, you're married.
No, I just can't pay attention to it.
Yeah, focus.
I'll go crazy.
Callan.
I'm now looking at his phone again. Yeah, I can't handle your phone. It's the black hole. Your phone is the black hole of male attention.
It's a sinkhole.
It is the sinkhole of male. It's a murderous assault on my attention.
It's very true. You get no work done.
None.
You get no work done.
None.
It's weird. I'm single.
You are single.
I know.
Of course. How can you not be? Do you want to settle down?
I would love to.
And then there's the picture.
Let me see. Did you take that picture?
No. I don't know. I found it online somewhere.
It's the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Isn't that great?
It's the smallest dick I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's an Asian family and a man standing next to them.
One of the family members, obviously, is just
naked.
butt naked.
Doesn't manscape.
No.
That is appalling. It's nothing short of appalling.
Yeah. No, I would love to settle down. I would. I'm of that age. I've fucked enough girls.
Yeah.
I don't have to rack up any numbers. I've fucked way beyond my.
You've outkicked your coverage.
No, I'm just saying. I was talking to my buddy the other day. For a short dude who's never been on a TV series and isn't rich, I've done A-okay.
Yeah, you damn right have. But
you know
you're
what
a
I mean?
good-looking guy.
Yeah,
You're
but
we got
to
charming.
Yeah,
People
but those are
like you.
choices I've made.
Well, that's the thing, right? So much of what we do is probably to get laid, isn't it? I mean,
Correct,
at the end of the
correct.
day, you want
Trust
to
me,
be.
I had guitar lessons long before I picked up a camera. that didn't work out. But no, I'm saying I've done for someone with, so I don't, I've done way better than I should have.
Yeah.
So I've done enough of that. I don't need.
That's how listen, I feel the exact same.
Of
way.
course,
I did think that was fascinating. Bryan and I have been reading the Paleo Manifesto, and he was talking about they interviewed the Masai Mara warriors, and they were saying, "Why do you still kill lions? Why do you still hunt endangered lions?" And they're like, "Because if you have one girlfriend, then you will have 20."
Really?
And it's like that's
brilliant.
that's the point. Is just that why do men try and hunt? Whether it's hunting like the great photograph, hunting for laughs, hunting for intellectual recognition, it's all ultimately for how women
At the end of the
see
day.
them.
At the end of the day.
Einstein apparently was a huge womanizer. Oh, wait, hold on.
When Einstein married his wife, he made it very clear. He laid ground rules, just so you know, like, I'm going to fuck around.
Get out. I had no idea.
No, he laid down the ground rules. Like, I will fuck around, and that's part of the deal. And if you're not on board with that,
I'll find someone else.
Suck it.
When you're the smartest man in the world, you're allowed to do that shit. It's like comedian
when
Theo Flowers.
When you've created the mass destruction, when you've created the tool for destroying the planet.
Theo Flowers is a really funny comic. He goes, look, man, nobody who makes $100 million, wins 3 Super Bowl rings, and and has 6 cars and a boat, and then just has one girlfriend. Come on, man.
It's true.
Ambition is across the board.
It's true.
You're a hungry man. You're a hungry man.
It's true.
Now, you have to come to the conclusion, and you have to decide what you want to be and what you get out of that.
Right.
One of the things I think as you get older is you develop nostalgia or appreciation for self-restriction because there's a lot in it, Hunter, I've never seen Hunter this obsessed with photographs, by the way. He's just giggling
well, I
to
think
himself.
well, I think it takes a certain kind of person who achieves those things.
Yeah.
And you can't have that person, I think, who's also it's about access and availability.
Yeah.
And drive to achieve exactly. That person is not going to be, for the most part, I think, is going to cut that one section out. Like that one section is going to be normal and traditional, and everything else is excessive and accomplished. And I don't know. But think about Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Tom Brady's a guy who knocked up Bridget Moynihan, insanely beautiful Bridget Moynihan, and looked at her and said, "Yeah, I can do better."
He knocked her up?
Yeah. And he left her when she was pregnant for Giselle.
That to me is fucked up.
But you're looking at Bridget Moynihan
I would
going,
never do that to a woman.
Well,
I also think
that
that's an asshole move.
Sure, of course.
I mean, in other words, no, but that's interesting to me because for me, I feel like I'm sorry, but that's a radically selfish guy.
All right. In Big Tom's defense,
yeah,
we don't really know what happened there.
Right.
I was just making glib little comment.
Yeah.
But we don't really know the ins and outs of that relationship.
You were making a larger point.
I was making a larger point of a
you
guy
were making a larger
who
point.
looked at her and said...
He was like, you know what? I can do better
do
because
better.
because I'm the king.
Because I don't know if you heard. I'm Tom Brady.
Yeah, I'm Tom Brady.
Yeah.
That does say something about... That's actually one of the things I find... Like, I'm really pretty forgiving of guys.
Uh-huh.
Infidelity and all that. But when you do that, when you get someone pregnant and you walk, I got a problem with you. When you have a kid with a woman and you walk,
because Amanda didn't let you?
Well, I wouldn't do it. Look, man, there are times in marriage where you look at your spouse and you're like, you just like it. Look, things can. It's a verb. Some days are great, some days aren't so great.
Right.
And I don't know a marriage that exists that's not like that, but. When you have a child with somebody, when you have 2 children, when you get someone pregnant and you walk, I don't know what that arrangement was. Maybe he got her pregnant by accident and they were friends. And they were on their way to breaking up, so I understand that. I don't know what his specific circumstances are, but you better have a good excuse if you're going to do that to me.
Yeah. What? Yeah.
What?
She was in Sports Illustrated this year.
Let me see. Who is that?
It's a girl named Marloes Horst, Victoria's Secret girl.
Yeah.
Really beautiful, very sweet Dutch girl.
She's Dutch.
I like the Dutch.
You know what's funny?
I don't want to fuck you.
No. Okay.
What's funny about what Dov Davidoff says about beauty is it's a commodity like anything else.
Of course.
It's a little bit like swimming with dolphins. When you first get in the water with dolphins, you're like, these are dolphins. This is incredible. Feels like an olive. Thing just swam by me. Now it's jumping through hoops. And then like 45 minutes later, you're like, can somebody get me out of the fucking pool?
Yeah,
I'm done with this shit. Seen one dolphin.
I'm cold. I want to go
Seen
home.
one dolphin. Seen them all.
Yeah.
And that's life. You can get inoculated to almost anything, Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been this has actually been a great podcast. I knew it would be. I knew you'd have plenty.
Anytime, Betty. I'd love to come back. Anytime.
Well, you need to come back on a regular basis.
Anytime, Betty.
Yeah.
Leave your phone here.
Yeah, and Hunter wants Randall to leave his phone there.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I really.
Anytime, buddy. I love it.
You're always fun to do it with. You're
I love
always
it.
fun. I'm going to go play volleyball on the beach. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Bryan Callen, Hunter Motts with Randall Slavin. I hope you enjoyed it and learned everything. Follow Randall Slavin on Instagram. Yeah. You'll see the best looking women in the world. What is it?
Randall Slavin.
RANDALL
SLAVIN.
So follow him, Randall Slavin.
It's fun. I'm good at it.
And he's the best. He's
Thank
a
you.
great photographer.
Thank you, Bryan.
And a great guy. And he's my friend. BryanCallen.com for where I'm going to be stand-up wise, people. Going to Vancouver this weekend. I think when this drops, I'll already have been there. I think I sold out.
Yeah, love it. And this drops like he's Diddy.
Calistoga Casino I'll be, and then I'll be in Toronto. Just go to BryanCallen.com. Later.
You've been listening to The Bryan Callen Show with Bryan Callen. Be sure to like him on Facebook. Just search for Bryan Callen Comedy. And follow him on Twitter. Just search for @Bryan Callen. You can also find him online by visiting his website. Just go to BryanCallen.com. Until next time, bye-bye.